Yo, what is up guys, Grim here, and in today's video we're going to be talking about incubators, which are a new league mechanic which can give you tons of rewards. So to begin with, we're going to talk a little bit about incubators, on kind of what they are, what they do, how to best use them in maps and optimize them, and then we're going to get into the rewards. We're going to talk about which ones I want to use, and which I do use, and which ones I recommend you guys use. Now we're not going to get into the data though. I have spreadsheets for that coming up in another video, and we're going to get into the revenue, the expenses, all of that good stuff that you know and love, kind of like how much you should maximum pay for one, and like kind of your profit margins on them, and kind of like a bit more of that stuff. So that'll be the second video. This video is going to be an introduction to them. I'm not going to talk about all the incubators because there's just so many of them. I'm basically going to pick on a few which I think are really good. I do have a spreadsheet which will detail all of the rewards, and we'll go over just a few of them which I think are really worth talking about. So to begin with, what is an incubator and how should you be using it? So basically an incubator is it's like kind of like a chest. It's like a chest that you put on your armor. So when you get an incubator, let's pick on one, a fossilized one. Basically what you can do is you'll see a few things on here. You'll see item drops after killing X monsters. So this is different depending on the item level of the incubator. So if you hold Alt, you can see this one's item level 86. But if you get a lower item level one, you'll notice it has a lower amount of kills. So this is pretty important information, but we'll get to that in a second. So what do you do with these things? Basically what you do is you right click them and you put them on your armor. And if you're playing a class that has a main hand and an offhand, you can put 10 of these on your armor. And if you're playing with like a two-hander, like a Starforge or something, you can put on 9. Now currently this doesn't work. You can't put it on an offhand. It won't give you any kill credit because you're not using the piece of gear technically. So it's not like jewels. So you're gonna have a maximum of 10 and 9. And you're going to whack probably maximum amount on if you can manage to acquire enough of these, because most of them will make you currency if you run enough of them. So now a quick few tips on running these things. Basically what you want to do is have 10 or 9 of them obviously at the ready, and when you're buying these or you're looking to run these, you want to try and pick ones with the same amount of kill count. So I put one on there which I think was 86, yeah, 9,030. So when I'm running fossilized, I want to have that many monsters, like for the kill credit, because you don't want to have like 4 popping this map, 2 in the next map, 3 in the next map. That's inefficient and it will make things annoying, and it'll make reapplying them really like kind of a hassle. You want them all to pop at one time, withdraw 10 more, boom, another 10 on. So if I want to actually get all of the same type, I will just go fossil, and then I'll put the kill count on, so it was 9,030. So you can see here, I got a ton of these, so I just go through and I just whack them all like this. I'll grab 9 of them, and boom, on you go. Here we go. Now, generally, you do want to have these up as much as possible, but obviously, don't worry about it too much if you don't. I mean, it's just a bit of fun, really. I mean, you're going to make probably 1 or 2 exalts extra by running these over like 100 maps. So it's definitely worth using them if you can be bothered buying them. Right now, it's pretty hard to buy a lot of these, but hopefully, once people realize the value in these, they'll either sell them or start using them themselves. That'll be really cool. So let's move on to the rewards now. Now that we understand how to use them, how to efficiently use them, and kind of like everything about them, we'll get straight into the spreadsheet. So, in terms of color coding here, we'll quickly go into it. The ones in blue are leveling incubators. These don't drop in maps, they don't drop in emblems, so we're not going to talk about those because, I mean, no one really has access to a lot of these, and the rewards are inferior to the mapping versions. So, next up we have ones in red. Now these ones, they do obviously have value to them, but I don't think that it's worth the time or the effort in like kind of buying these, equipping them, running the maps. Generally they require a lot of maps run, and then selling the reward afterwards. Let's use Geomancers for an example. This gives you a random 6-link item. Like, it could give you a 6-link astral plate, but on average it's probably going to give you like a 6-link, like, I don't know, anything. Even in the result that it gives you a really good base, like a destiny leather that can be chanced into a Queen of the Forest, this still only sells for 10C, so you're still losing money. So there's a few of these, like Singular. This can give you any unique. It could give you Headhunter, but I mean, let's be real, it's not going to give you Headhunter. It's going to give you like it could give you anything, really, any unique in the game, and it's going to give you some trash. So these ones, in my opinion, are not worth using, especially stuff like the Time Lost. I've used quite a few of these. In theory, it should be like a reliquary key from Legacy League, or not Legacy League, but from the league that they had Time Worn ones, but it doesn't work out quite like that, I don't think. I don't think it's weighted the same. I haven't seen too many of these. I don't actually think I've seen any of these drop a headhunter yet. I've watched a lot of people crack these. I've watched a lot of them pop. I haven't seen anyone say they've gotten one from Time Lost on Reddit. So I think these are pretty heavily weighted, and I think they've been struck by the nerf hammer, which has hit headhunter pretty hard. So the next ones are ones in yellow. So these ones are generally either going to be item level dependent, or they're going to be economy dependent. Or kind of knowledge dependent, like if you want to go to the trouble of getting them and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to quickly breeze over these because I want this to be a pretty short video. We're going to talk about them pretty much in batches. So the first batch I'm going to talk about is these ones. So these are all the ones you should consider item level when evaluating. So right now, these are all pretty cheap, and that's because people price them just in bulk at the average value that a normal one would have, which isn't affected by item level. So if you get someone who isn't knowledgeable enough about incubators and they price a bunch of their high item level ones at these prices, generally you could actually stand to profit a great deal amount. You could be making tons of exalts off of this if you get them at cheap prices, and I'll go into why right now. So right now we've got Abyssal. This drops jewels, so the Searching Eye, Modus Eye, all that kind of stuff, Vices, and that's pretty much it. So with these rewards, this is all based on my own findings. If you guys have different results and you've had an X reward from Y incubator, please post that in the comments so that we can kind of add that information to the community. So this is all based on my own results. I haven't seen any uniques from Abyssal. Next up is maps. Obviously it drops a map. We got all of the Shaper and Elder weaponry, jewelry, and armor, and all of these are affected by item level, and they will affect the drop table dramatically. So in terms of the jewels, the Stygian Vices, the Elder, Shaper, all that kind of stuff, all of these have higher value at high item levels, especially item level 86. Stygian Vices at item level 86 are worth 5 or 6 C, but at item level 72, they're worth nothing. No one will buy them. So this is very important when evaluating these incubators. If you can get them at high item level, you'll make a lot of currency, but at low item level, they're worthless. Especially with the Abyssal, because no one wants low item level kind of Abyssal stuff. They just don't. Unless it's got really good rolls on it, but then we're getting into the identifying rares argument, but we don't want to get into that one. So yeah, same with the Shaper and Elder stuff. I will quickly go over maps. So if you have an 83 incubator for cartographers, this does not necessarily mean you're getting a Guardian map out of that. It's not like the others. If you have an 86 Abyssal one, you will get an 86 item. It will be 86x Abyssal item. But with cartographers, if you get an 83 or an 86 cartographers, it won't be a Guardian every time. It could be a T2 map. So keep that in mind when you're buying these. But at 1 siege, you might still stand to profit a good amount if you get a ton of Guardians. I'm not going to get into the data in this video. Obviously, I've run hundreds of these incubators, not this one specifically, but overall. So I do have a pretty good idea of the drop tables, but we will get into that in the next video. So yeah, definitely pretty interesting. Evaluate the item level before you buy these. Make sure you're getting higher level ones, and you could make a lot of currency. So next up, we're going to go over Decadent. Decadent is in yellow here. It is a league specific one. Most of the league specific ones are pretty good, but this one is extremely dependent on the price of Perandus coins. So if the buy-in cost of 4C is not equivalent to some sort of return from the amount of Perandus coins you get, it's not going to be worth it. And the reason for that is because 99.9999% of the time you run this incubator, you're going to get Perandus coins. I've run probably 60 or 70 of them. I got the map once. Now, I'm not sure if it can drop stuff like Tripanon or the boots or something like that, but I got the map once. That's all I know. So it can drop the map, 100%, but every single other time, it's been Perandus coins. So Perandus coins are really cheap. This is not worth running, but if they aren't, if they're really expensive, this could be a cash cow for someone out there. But yeah, Perandus coins, look into it, see if it's worth it. Next up we have Enchanted. I'm not a big enchant kind of guy. I don't really know the prices of enchants too well. That's not my kind of sphere of influence. I don't do lab or anything like that. But again, item level is going to be important here. You're getting rare bases, so people want high item level. Stuff like a 86 Lions Pelt with Tornado Shot, for example, is worth multiple exalts. But a Hubris Circlet or a Necromancer Circlet with Tornado Shot is probably not worth the same amount. So you want to be looking at high item level. You want to try and figure out if you can get this on the right base. Obviously, it's completely RNG. It's like really super RNG. You need to get that on the right base, right enchant, right item level. So you can affect the item level, but the base and the enchant, you're just going to have to get a bit lucky. But again, if you get like Tornado Shot, it's going to be like worth like a few exalts at least. And if you get like a really good base, you might be looking at quite a bit of money indeed. That's why it's in yellow. It's definitely just high RNG. Test it out if you want. At 1C, you can't really go wrong. Most enchants are worth something at least. So next up we have, actually let's finish off with the yellows first and then we'll go into the greens. We got Primal in yellow. So this one drops a rare talisman. It can be T1, 2, or 3, any of them, depending. It doesn't really depend on item level from my experience. Like if it's a 86 one, it's not going to always drop a tier 3 one or anything like that. Why it's in yellow here is because you can get any of the unique ones, including Eyes of the Great Wolf, which can be worth like a mirror if you get the Quant one. Could be pretty good, but it's very unlikely that you'll get that. But where the real moneymaker will be is the Spine Fused Talismans. So these are talismans with anywhere between 6 to 10% quantity on them. Now, the reason this is good is because people want quantity amulets, and if you get good like rolls, like life or something like that, you can sell this for 50, 60, 70, maybe even an exalt or multiple exalts. And now for 1C buy-in, it might actually be worth it to run these, like between the unique talismans, Eyes of the Great Wolf, Spine Fuse. Maybe you'll get something good, maybe not though, we'll have to see. I haven't done too many of these because of that reason. Last one here, Thaumaturges. Again, you could get a really good 21-23 gem from this. You can also get a 18% quality Molten Strike, and no one wants that. That's a GCP. And at 8C, I mean, you got to take your chances, don't you? So this one's high risk, high reward. Probably on average, I'd assume over like 100 or 200, you'd probably make quite a lot of currency, but I am not prepared to test that. I don't find that one too much fun to crack open, but I'm sure there's a lot of money to be made if you guys want to look into that. So now, onto the green ones, the ones that I love to run, and the ones that I recommend you guys looking into heavily. So we have the Foreboding, which is Harbinger Shards, or well, not Harbinger Shards, but like Harbinger League Shards. Fossilized, which is fossils. Fragmented, which is sacrificial, Azeri shape or repel fragments. Infused, which is essences and remnants. Obscured, which is splinters and breachstones. Ornate, currency, otherworldly, unique maps, and skittering is scarabs. So all of these, I actually do not think you can lose on at current prices. I think you will always make your money back on everything but maybe the otherworldly, obscured, and over like a short sample size ornate. But if you get a big enough sample size, I think you're going to make a ton of currency. Yeah, I just think that's how it is. We'll get into the data in the next video, but we'll go over just a few things about these ones and why I think they're so good. So we'll start off with Foreboding. This one, in my opinion, is probably the most known good one. Obviously, you can see it's 7 chaos, and there is a reason for this. Currently, the drop table of this is the following: Exalted Shards, Annulment Shards, Harbinger, and Ancient Shards. Now, I'm going to tentatively throw Mirror Shards in there. I've never gotten Mirror Shards, and I've run a lot, but Mirror Shards are rare, let's be honest. So I think that it probably could drop them. I just haven't gotten them yet. So the other 4, though, are that's the table. Like, you're going to get one of those 4 every time. You're not going to get Horizon Shards. You're not going to get Alchemy Shards. You're going to get one of those 4, which is pretty crazy. So these are really good. Throw a few of them on if you have them in your bank. If not, sell them. I've got a friend who's selling these in bulk for 12C each. He said he was telling me. So these are really good. We'll leave it at that for now because I want to let people have some fun with some of these suggestions before the stats video, and you guys really see how much like the numbers are behind these and how much I'm currently making off these things. So next up we got Fossilized. So Fossilized is pretty good. Some of the fossil prices are nice and juicy right now. We'll go into that right now. If you take a look at PoE Ninja, which I always recommend you guys checking it out before you have any sort of strategy, you can see that a lot of them, like serrated, perfect, pristine, shuddering, all these are really expensive, and they sell for even more in bulk, which is exactly what we want to be hearing. So if you're looking for a really consistent moneymaker, I would recommend Fossilized. Now, I've run quite a few of these, and I can pretty much confirm that they don't drop the T1 fossils. So Faceted, Hollowed, Bloodstained, these are out. I've run tons of 5-way emblems, tons of maps, tons of Fossilized Incubators, not even one. And I haven't heard of anyone getting it either. So I'd say these are specifically for Delve, and they're meant to be only Delve. They stay in Delve for a reason to do Delve. So they don't just drop from the Incubators, which is pretty interesting, but completely understandable. So Fossilized, you're going to be looking at pretty good returns. Let's just say that, especially at 1C each. Whew, yes. Next up, we got Fragmented. So this one, I threw it out in another video, and people kind of like went crazy for it, and they like did some strange stuff, which is pretty interesting. But basically, this one is item level dependent, in my opinion. If you have a high item level kind of sack incubators or fragment incubators, you're gonna be getting stuff like the occasional Uber Zeri frag, the occasional Shaper fragment, occasional Pale Core fragment, but majority of the time you will get sacrificial fragments. So these are 1C. So these aren't bad. You'll always get your money back. You cannot lose on this incubator. So anytime you get like a Mortal Hope or a Fragment of Chimera, you just plus that currency on there, just like free currency, boom. The only thing you're spending is time acquiring these. So it's all down to how much time you need to spend getting these, and if you can get them in bulk, or you like know some 5 emblem guy who just has hundreds of these, it's worth running them. Like, why wouldn't you? You're gonna make currency off them, guaranteed. Every single time if you get high item level ones. They don't need to be 86, just like probably 83, 80, anything like that. You're probably looking at being able to get Uber fragments, all that kind of stuff. Next up, Infused. So this one is definitely really underrated. It has really high upside, but maybe some downside. So when you look at PoE Ninja again, we'll bring it up, that good old PoE Ninja. You can see that essences are definitely not extremely valuable, but there's a few that are worth like quite a bit of currency. Now with a buy-in cost of 1C for this, you can pretty much guarantee, say, you're going to make your money back over like 20 or 30 of these. And the reason for that is because after running them, on average, they do drop mainly Shrieking, Screaming, Deafening, Corrupted Essences, and Remnants of Corruption. Now all of these are worth more than 1C, unless you get like some of the bad essences, which could be unlucky. But I mean, at the end of the day, these things aren't hard to sell because you can 3-to-1 them using the recipe into the higher ones and just sell one of them. So it's definitely not too bad, and I think that you're probably going to make quite a lot of currency using these, especially at 1C each. I don't think you can lose. I haven't gotten too many of these, like wailing or muttering or anything like that. I think this is generally, I mean, it says it on the tin, a valuable essence. So it's pretty much intended to give you a higher tier essence. Next up, Obscured. Okay, this one is going to take a second to talk about. Let's pull that chair in. Alright, so Obscured is a bit of an interesting one. This one can give you anywhere between splinters of any of the Breach Lords. It can give you a normal Bridgestone, including Chayula. It can give you a charged, it can give you an enriched, or it can give you a pure. Now, there is a few things which I want to talk about here. So there is probably some weighting. You're going to get more splinters than you do pure Bridgestones. That's a fact. And you can see that a lot of the Breachstone prices have actually tanked as a result of, as a result of this incubator, and obviously the maps dropping pure Breachstones, sorry, whole Breachstones and pure Breachstones as well. Now, I'm not entirely sure if item level affects this. I don't think it does. But yeah, you will actually see here that 210C for a pure Chayula Breachstone right now. And these will only increase in value as people kind of like just want to get hundreds. Like, it's a pretty good way and consistent way of getting level 100. It's pretty safe as well. You can do it in rotors. These are always going to be basically XP in a can, so I don't see that the demand for these going down anytime soon. Obviously, we did see a bit of a dip here, but oh no. I think these are always going to be valuable. The Chola items are always going to be good. So I think that this incubator could be pretty good if you have enough currency to run enough of them to kind of like weather the storm of getting like 10 incubators worth of splinters without a stone. but you definitely can get a lot of breach stones. And there's something you can do with breach stones this league, which is pretty good. And I'm not going to get into this video, but it's pretty damn amazing. Not just the pure ones, but the charged and enriched as well. Yeah, maybe we'll talk about that in another time, but we'll leave that for now. Next up, Ornate. So Ornate drops pretty much any currency. It can drop like a fusing orb, it can drop like a chaos orb, and it can also drop an exalted orb, or an annulment orb, or a divine orb. Now, I've noticed a really high amount of tier 1 currencies from this incubator, and that's why it's got this price bump here over the other incubators, because I think a lot of other people are starting to notice this well. Now, you're not going to probably notice this too much if you do like 10. You're probably going to get like no exalted orbs, but if you do 100, you're probably going to get like maybe like 3x, 2 divines, and like 4 annuls, that kind of thing. It's noticeable, very, very noticeable, and you're going to get a lot of tier 1 currencies from this one, but you will have dry spells. It's like anything. Yeah, so that's all I'm going to say about that one. It can drop a lot of tier 1 currencies, but without the data, you guys aren't going to really understand how OP these are. Next up, Otherworldly. Any unique map, it seems to be weighted. Obviously, you're going to get a lot more Putrid Cloisters than you are going to get like Coward's Trial, but even Coward's Trial is worth a bit of currency now because it's like the power leveling thing. So pretty interesting there. And then finally, Skittering. Okay, Skittering is awesome. I'm so glad they added this because it basically puts a massive amount of scarabs into the market. And that's a good thing for anyone who likes to do maps. It's fun, it's awesome, and I love scarabs. So this one is definitely weighted. It's not going to give you as many gilded as it gives you rusted, and same with polished. But it gives you a good amount of them, and I don't believe it's tied to item level. So I've run like level 72 skitterings, and it's given me gilded. I don't have the full data on this yet. I'm still testing it. But yeah, it looks like it's not weighted. So if you can get these for 2.6C, you get one gilded that pays back all 10 of them pretty much. Gilded scarabs are on the rise, and I don't see them stopping anytime soon because they are the most fun to have in maps in PoE currently, with a lot of them selling from upwards of 20C. In bulk, that is, if you have bulk of the scarabs. But if you're running a ton of skitterings, you're going to get a lot of scarabs. Like if we take a look at my fragment tab, you'll see I have a ton of them, and I've been selling them. So this is a lot of them from skittering. You'll notice I have like 28 polished piranhas and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, pretty interesting stuff there. So to sum it all up, do I think incubators are worth it? Hell yes, they're amazing, they're really fun, and they always make me want to do the next map. Like I just want to see what's inside. I want to test more of them. Now some of them are obviously worth worth a lot more than the other ones, is what I'm saying. Like some of them are pretty bad, some of them are pretty good, for example. And one thing that I really want to point out here is that it depends on the state of the economy. If piranhas coins are really expensive and the incubator is really cheap, obviously you're gonna make a killing. If essences are really dirt cheap right now, then don't run the infused ones. You're gonna have to kind of look at PoE Ninja and kind of like really estimate, like, is it worth it? Should I be doing this? All that kind of stuff. Yeah, definitely pretty interesting stuff. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this taste of incubators, and we will have the full data set next video, and you guys can really see how much currency you can expect to earn from these at the current prices. Obviously if they go sky high, things will change, but at the current prices, I think they're definitely profitable. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.